Call the member for Corangamite.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Justice. Will the minister update the House on action the government is taking to combat the use of ICE? How is this government working to keep members of my community safe?
I call the Minister for Justice.
Well, thank you, Mr Speaker, and can I thank the member for Corangamite for that question. And I acknowledge that she is one of the many members on this side of the House who have raised the issue of ICE with me in recent times and has taken a keen interest in what the government is going to do about this problem. Between 2009 and 2013, the weight of methamphetamine that's been seized globally has increased from 32 tonnes to 88 tonnes, and the vast majority of those seizures have been within our region of Southeast Asia. But the growth in the Australian market has far outstripped the growth in the global market, and proportionately we know that Australia uses more methamphetamine than almost any other country in the world, and the number of users sadly continues to grow. At $50 per dose in some parts of Australia, it can be cheaper than a night out on the alcohol, and the growth in usage of ICE is quite staggering. In 2007, 100,000 Australians reported using crystal methamphetamine, which is commonly known as ICE. 6 years later, this figure had doubled to 200,000, but these figures would still be outdated and would be very conservative because evidence suggests we now have well over 200,000 ICE users in Australia. This is evidenced by the seizures that we've made at our border, which between 2010 and 2014 have increased 60 times. 60 times in the space of 4 years. And it's remarkable that the more than 4 tonnes of amphetamine-type stimulants that we have seized in the past year has not led to an increase in the street price for ICE. Recently, I've had the opportunity to speak with Andrew Hastie and the people of Canning about the impact of ICE in their local community. And Andrew is committed to doing all he can to tackle this issue and to address the mounting harm and havoc that is inflicted by this insidious drug. The people of Canning know that we need a holistic approach to fighting crime and to addressing the impacts of ICE. We need to explain that if you're going to take this drug, what it's going to do to you, what it's going to do to your family, and what it's going to do to your community. Now, we know that the most important response to this is a law enforcement response, but we need to use every other tool at our disposal to stop the epidemic of ICE. Since coming to office, we've introduced new laws that strike at the heart of this lucrative and deadly trade by targeting the criminals who peddle ICE on our streets, and we are seeing results from this. Last week, a joint operation between the Western Australian Police Force and the Australian Crime Commission
will resume his seat. The member for Throsby on a point of order.
A point of order. It's relevant, Speaker. To be relevant, the minister has to match Labor's promise.
The member for Throsby will leave under 94A. The minister will resume his seat. I've given fair warning to the House that I will deal with frivolous points of order. That was a complete abuse of the standing orders. Anyone attempting to replicate that will face the same discipline. The minister has the call.
Well, it's a shame the member's been thrown out because I was about to explain to the House that in Western Australia last week we had the largest seizure ever of crystal methamphetamine, 3.2 tonnes. 3.2 tonnes with a street value of over $320 million. Mr Speaker, the government will take action to do all we can to protect our communities from this scourge, and I would expect that the opposition, as opposed to the display we just saw, would join us in supporting that.